Passengers, the 2016 sci-fi film starring Chris Pratt and Jennifer Lawrence, came with a strong cast, a sleek setting, and a compelling concept. A spaceship on a 120-year journey, 5,000 colonists in cryosleep, and a lone man waking up 90 years too early. It sounds like the setup for a gripping thriller or psychological drama. But what audiences got instead was a deeply unsettling romantic tale, wrapped in a misleading trailer and dressed up in glossy sci-fi. Let's start with the film's core ethical problem. Jim Preston wakes up from cryosleep alone due to a malfunction. After a year of isolation and depression, he finds Aurora, played by Jennifer Lawrence, still sleeping. He reads her profile, watches her video logs, and then, selfishly and knowingly, wakes her up, dooming her to die on the ship just so he won't be lonely. The film tries to frame this act as understandable, even romantic, which is where it crosses a serious line. There's no sugarcoating it. What Jim does is a violation of Aurora's autonomy. It's selfish, deceitful, and irreversible. Aurora has no choice in the matter, and Jim initially lies about what happened. If this story were told from her perspective, it might resemble a psychological thriller about a man who traps a woman for companionship. Instead, Passengers manipulates the tone so heavily that we're meant to sympathize with Jim, and eventually accept their relationship. That brings us to the second major flaw, the romantic framing of abuse. Aurora's reaction to discovering the truth is explosive, but temporary. Within a short time, she not only forgives Jim, but falls back in love with him. There's no meaningful reconciliation, no long-term fallout, no realistic emotional processing. The film wants a happy ending, and it sacrifices credibility and character integrity to get there. Beyond the ethics, the film suffers from narrative and structural issues. For one, it was marketed as a mystery thriller about two people waking up too soon. That was a lie. It's really about one man waking up another person without consent, and then pretending everything is normal. The trailer never hinted at this central moral conflict, understandably, because it's disturbing. Then there's the tonal inconsistency. The movie jumps from light comedy to romance to disaster drama without ever fully committing to any of them. Scenes of tension are undercut by awkward flirtation. Emotional depth is skipped over in favor of sleek visuals and montages. It tries to be too many things, and ends up being none of them convincingly. Worse still, it wastes an incredibly rich sci-fi premise. A ship full of sleeping passengers, a journey to colonize a new world, a man going slowly insane from isolation. These are ideas bursting with potential, but rather than exploring them deeply, the movie shrinks down to a cabin fever love story that never engages with its bigger philosophical questions. Let's not forget the scientific and logical holes. Why is there no redundancy in the cryosleep system? Why is Jim the only one affected by a pod malfunction? Why is there no way to re-enter cryosleep? And why would a mission critical to the survival of a new colony not have contingency protocols for early wake-ups, mechanical failures, or mental health crises? The ending only compounds these problems. Jim magically solves the ship's reactor overload with nothing but basic engineering knowledge. Food, air, and supplies are somehow enough to sustain two people for 90 years. And by the end, Aurora accepts her fate so thoroughly that she chooses to live out her life aboard the ship with the man who took away her future. There's also the wasted opportunity for thematic depth. The film brushes past the chance to explore real psychological trauma, isolation, and the morality of survival decisions. It could have been a sci-fi castaway, or a character study like Moon. Instead, it opted for a simplistic love story that asks the audience to ignore the very premise it built itself on. Even the android bartender, played charismatically by Michael Sheen, is reduced to a plot device. He exists mainly to facilitate Jim's emotional arc and to accidentally reveal the truth to Aurora, conveniently moving the story along without real depth or meaning. In the end, Jim faces no real consequences. He gets the life he wanted. Aurora eventually loves him. They grow old together, decorate the ship with plants, and disappear from the narrative without ever seriously addressing the betrayal at the heart of the story. Passengers had the chance to be bold science fiction. It had the budget, the cast, and the concept. But instead of challenging the audience or honoring its own premise, it softened every edge and romanticized what should have been condemned. It's a film that's beautiful on the surface, but rotten at its core. And that's everything wrong with Passengers, not just from a story standpoint, but from an ethical, logical, and thematic perspective. It could have been memorable. Instead, it's infamous.